Will this be a hair disaster, or will it end up all working out in the end? Stay tuned to find out. And this is the salon life. Cheers.
Let's go, let's leave, let's hit, let's go. Holy hair, let's go, let's go, let's go.
In this video, I'm going to be trying out this Difiaba, I don't know how to say it, but this is the Cool Toning Lightening Activated Charcoal Paste. So I'm going to be trying out their Cool Toning shampoo, conditioner, and their lightener today to do my roots. Supposedly, because of the charcoal in this, you do not have to use a toner. I don't know if I believe that. So we are going to be trying this out on my roots because homegirl needs her roots done real bad. So I'm going to be applying this on my roots, and then I think what I'm going to do is kind of like pull it through for the last like 5 minutes or so. The idea behind this charcoal lightener is that, like, you know, you can use activated charcoal to like whiten your teeth and just like whiten things. So it's supposed to whiten and kind of like pull out any yellow tones. So I'm hoping that I can pull out some banding and any yellow tones I have just like throughout my hair. It said, I looked up some videos, which there's not really many videos online about this charcoal lightener, but the one video that I saw said to like squish it around. So this is a lightening paste. It's not a powder, it's a paste. So said to squish it around to kind of like distribute the product evenly and mix it around well before you mix it up. I'm going to be using 30 volume with this. So I'm going to mix up some of this for my root formula. So I normally mix around 50 grams of lightener to do my roots. So I'm going to, I guess, oh, look how thick this is. So I guess I'm gonna mix about 50 grams of this as well. It's really hard to squeeze out. Okay, I'm almost there. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do 55. Oh, that's 62 grams, and that's what we squeezed out, and you can't put it back in, so that's how much I'm gonna be using. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So I'm going to mix up 120 grams of the developer. I'm using 30 volume. So since I am applying this on my scalp, I'm going to add in 2 packets of my sweetener. I do not want to risk it because if you do not add the sweetener in, it really burns your scalp. And then I am going to be adding in the Olaplex. I'm going to add in 1/2 ounce because we used 60 grams of lightener. So that would be 1/2 ounce of Olaplex. For every 15 grams of lightener, you would add 1/8 ounce of Olaplex. So that would be 1/2 for this amount. I am going to be processing with a cap after I put this on for about 40 minutes. Also, I just need to add in here that I have someone. Hey, this is Shayna. She is going to be helping me out at the salon, filming and just like help during the day at the salon. So she is a close friend of mine and now co-artist. Bringer of champagne. Yes. You can't have a hair night without champagne. So we gonna be popping the bubbly. Cheers! Cheers! So it has been 40 minutes. I processed under the dryer for about 30 minutes with a cap on, and then the other 10 I processed without the dryer. So because this is charcoal lightener and it's so dark, it's really hard to tell when it's done. So I just have a towel with some water on it, and I'm just gonna wipe off some of the lightener to see where we're at, and I can always reapply it if I need to process a little bit longer. So to me, honestly, it looks a little bit yellow still, but it doesn't look like it needs to process for that much longer. So what I'm gonna do is, I wanted to kind of pull it through on my whole hair for the last like 5 to 10 minutes. So I think that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna apply this back on the root. I am actually going to wet my hair first before I apply it on my ends, but I'm just gonna wet it with like a spray bottle and then just kind of like run the lightener through the ends, kind of comb it through and let that process for about 5 to 10 minutes so that I can, you know, just kind of overall brighten my color. So I'm just applying it where I wiped it off, and then I'm gonna run it through the ends of my hair. So I'm gonna take this spray bottle and dampen my hair all over and get it pretty wet. Could be misting the plant too. She probably needs some water. This is a good way to water the plant. Look at this. Shayna's like, girl.
Multitasking.
What I'm doing is like when you dilute the bleach.
Like a bleach wash?
With water. Yeah, like a bleach wash. You can mix bleach with shampoo, or you can just mix it with water. And this way it's not super powerful, so that you can put it on pre-lightened hair and just kind of, you know, bump up the level a couple levels. If I was doing this on a client, I'd be doing this at the shampoo bowl. But since I'm doing this on myself, I'm just doing it out in the open. We have glass number 2 of Prosecco poured, and we're about to rinse, so I'm a little nervous as to what is going to happen when we rinse this, but we shall see. Because we cannot tell if it's done or not. We just have to guess. So I have rinsed and I used the charcoal shampoo and conditioner. I let the conditioner sit on for about 10 to 15 minutes. And so here's where we're at. So the roots honestly still look a little bit warm. I feel like the roots needed to sit on for another 10 minutes, and I might have rinsed it too early. And then what happens is with blonde hair is when the roots are a little bit brassy, then, you know, the next inch or so took the toning shampoo and conditioner really well and are really ashy and really platinum blonde, so then it makes the brassy roots look even more brassy than they actually are. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an Olaplex treatment all over root to end, Olaplex number 2, so that my hair can heal for now. And I'm gonna do that overnight, and then I am going to come in tomorrow and just tap on the brassiest parts of my hair with some lightener. Let that process for about 10 to 15 minutes, like in here. Like this cannot be toned. I mean, on my hair, like this needs to be bleached again. So honestly, I probably should have gone through and like really cross-checked and really like applied it again all throughout, but this lightener was so hard to see because it was so dark and my roots were dark. It was really, really hard to see where I was applying it and if everything was covered, etc. So it's all good. This is a learning experience. I mean, this looks pretty decent for no toner, I will say. I mean, it's not tragic. Obviously, if I part my hair and look up in here, like homegirl's got some brassy roots. After I lighten this for about 10 more minutes, it'll be perfect. And then I'll just probably tone everything, or maybe I'll just tone my roots. I don't know. I feel like I have some warmth in here because of all of the pink that I've put on my hair. We'll just see what I feel like tomorrow. I'm gonna sleep on an Olaplex treatment and I will see you guys tomorrow. So if you've made it this far in the video, you now know that this has turned into a hair disaster. I don't love this lightener for root touch-ups on blondes because it's dark when applied, so if you're applying over dark roots, you cannot see what you're doing. You're basically doing it blind. And secondly, you don't know when it's done. I should have left it on my roots for another 5 to 10 minutes, but I didn't, and I had already pulled it through the ends and I had to rinse it because I only wanted to leave it on the ends for literally 5 minutes. So then I rinsed everything out and discovered it hadn't been processed long enough on the roots. So I'm going to stick to my tried and true, never fail, never leave me, Schwarzkopf Blondme for my root touch-ups. For me, personally. I'm sure if I used this lightener, you know, extensively and practiced with it, I would probably get the hang of it. I will not be using this again for my hair, but I am going to be trying this for a balayage because I think that this paste lightener would be so good to apply as balayage. Fast forward to tomorrow when I fix my hair and get it to this point, which it all turns out okay. It's gonna be fine. So for my hair, I've just mixed up 15 grams of Schwarzkopf Blondme, my go-to. We're just gonna have to go to the OG for this. And I'm also going to be mixing up 1/8 of an ounce of Olaplex. I only am using 7 volume for this. I'm not using any higher than 7 volume because my hair is a little fragile right now. And so we're just going to be touching the spots on my scalp that are very warm because there are some very warm spots. So the positive thing is that this is no toner. Like I have no toner on my hair and it does look fairly cool compared to when I bleach my hair just regularly and do no toner. So, but the only problem is with that lightener is that I could not see what I was doing. So in here, we have a lot of warmth. And I don't know if you can see this on camera, but my roots, it looks like my roots needed another like 5 to 10 minutes, but I left this on for a good like 45 to 55 minutes. I don't even remember how long it was, but I think that's about how long I left it on. The directions, like the instructions say to leave it on for 40 minutes and trust the process and all this and that. And I did, and I trusted the process, and now I'm orange, and here we are doing a little bit of a color correction. Actually, like a little bit of a disaster, but it's fixable. So this is a good example. I'm gonna take this as an example to teach you guys that if you have somebody that is a root touch-up bleach and you don't leave it on long enough or something like this happens, this is how you approach the situation. So I'm literally just going to go through, and like I said, I have mixed up 7 volume with Olaplex, and this is only going to sit on for no more than 20 minutes. I'm gonna try to sit it on about 10 to 15, see where we're at. and then if it needs to sit on a couple more minutes, I'll sit it on 20. But I'm literally going through and I'm gonna just apply it on the parts that are the warmest. So I am not applying this on my whole head, not even nearly. So I'm just applying it on the warmest parts of my hair. Top section out of the way, because this top section will tend to be one of the more fragile sections of the hair, just because it's the top layer, it's the section that's usually exposed to the most sunlight and heat and all of that. So I'm basically literally going through and not necessarily doing my entire root touch up again, but kind of, because I'm gonna have to go through each section and touch the warmest spots. The reason why we can't touch this up with toner is because it needs to be lifted just a little bit more. And for some reason, that lightener didn't lift my hair enough. So the key to this application is going to be working quickly throughout the hair and only applying this on the warmest parts of my hair. Again, we are only letting this sit on for about 10 to 15 minutes, 20 at most. So we want to just keep an eye on everything and watch it as it lifts, but it just needs to lift past this kind of orange stage that it's in right now. The reason why this could have happened is partially because I may not have applied it thick enough. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this was my first time using this new charcoal lightener and I was not familiar with it, but that's why I use me as the guinea pig and I don't try this on a client for the first time, because we want to see what it does first before we charge people for it. But this is not a big deal. Like, obviously if this was a client, they would probably be freaking out. But since I know this is like a really easily fixable thing, I'm not worried at all about it. And I know that my hair is going to be still in good shape because of Olaplex. So I'm doing this top section last, and I'm gonna be super, super careful when applying this on my top section, because this is the section that's the most damaged. So we wanna hold the hair down, and I'm just applying it on those warm pieces, which is basically like the middle of my root that I have. So it's not technically up to the scalp, because the hair at my scalp processed a little bit cooler because of the heat from my scalp. And this just goes to show you that life isn't perfect and we all make mistakes. My hairline looks good though. The hairline normally comes up a little bit lighter than the rest of the hair, which tells me that it was just the fact I did not leave it on long enough on my roots, which it's so hard to tell with that lightener how long to leave it on for, because you can't even see it. Even with me wiping away the bleach, I still couldn't even tell if it was done or not. So I think that this could have happened to anyone, and there's not a lot of videos for that lightener on YouTube or Instagram or anything, so I think that that is just something that you need to keep in mind. So it depends on what level your client is starting with. My hair is fairly dark, so I need a little more TLC than maybe the average person. And when I say TLC, I mean processing time. Just very gently applying that on my hairline up front. And I can already see this processing and working on the interior of my hair here. I did already apply it on the majority of this side because for some reason this side was really warm, and that could have been that I didn't fully saturate each area, which was also hard to tell with that lightener because it was dark and my roots were dark. So if it looked fully saturated, it may not have been. Okay, so I have this applied on all of the warm spots of my roots, and I'm going to put a cap on this and let it process for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm going to check it every 5. I'm not going to go under the dryer, I'm just going to use the cap for heat. So this is how my hair turned out. It definitely looks so much better. I've just shampooed and conditioned it, towel dried, and now I'm going to be applying my color. So I've been back and forth between, do I stay just like a platinum blonde or do I go a little fun, a little different? And I'm gonna go different. So today I'm going to be using the 9VRO in Shades EQ, which is like their rose gold color, but I'm going to be mixing it with the 10VV to pull more of the violet in it. And so it's gonna look kind of pastel, purple, pinkish, and then I'm gonna add in a little bit more purple so I pull more of the purpley color. So we'll see how this turns out. I've never done this toner on my hair, so I'm not exactly sure how it's gonna turn out. So I just added 10 grams of clear in this formula.
You got it.
I'm so not strong. After having a baby, I have lost all my strength. It's like it took all my strength out of me to give birth, and now I don't have any strength left. Oh my God. I'm sweating. It's not coming out.
Do you want me to try?
It's really thick.
Let's go, let's leave.